Cassar. Well, welcome back to another exciting and memorable episode of the Justice Planned podcast show. I'm your host and professional wedding MC, as always, Nathan Cassar, and today we have a special treat for you, our very first returning guest of the show. It's all very exciting. That's right, Kevin Du, also known as Images by Kevin, is back for round two. He's back for some more pain in the hot seat. Kevin is a wedding photography and videography maestro who's been capturing stunning memories for over 11 years. Known for his ninja-like skills, Kevin has made a name for himself as one of the most sought-after professionals in the wedding industry, with multiple ABIA nominations and being a finalist for the past 6 years. But what really sets Kevin apart is his friendly, relaxed nature that helps couples feel comfortable and at ease on their big day. When Kevin isn't busy snapping beautiful moments, you can find him making sourdough every week. Well, that's cool. Indulging in his love for coffee. I think that's a shared love amongst all wedding vendors. And enjoying life as a foodie and a proud father of 2 energetic kids. That's where the coffee comes in. He's also got a soft spot for koi fish, just to add to his list of talents. In today's episode, we're going to sort of be continuing our conversation from our last episode together, where Kevin will be sharing why you should have both photos and video for your wedding, and a really interesting product that he also has been, since the last episode, has been putting into practice since he launched it. Why choosing the right team for your big day is crucial, and how to make the most of your wedding memories. If you missed Kevin's first appearance, you're in for another round of great insights. Kevin, welcome to the show. Welcome back. How's it going?
Good. No, it's good to see you again, and thank you for having me as your first repeat podcast.
Of course, it was exciting. I saw the application come in, and I was like, this is season 4. I think it's about time we, as vendors, I've grown over the course of the last 3 years hosting this, and certainly you have as well. I know that when we spoke last, at least on the show, we just caught up each other socially recently, but on the show, you were just launching. I think you were launching a new website, and you were also launching a new product called the Hybrid Photo Video Package. And I think what was really compelling about it was the thing for me was knowing that you were both doing photo and video at the same time, and thinking to myself, goodness, like I work with so many people who do that separately, even agencies who will offer that with 2 different people doing that 2 different services. But yet you were saying, no. One person is enough for that. I can totally take care of it. So I've got to ask the question, how has it been going since you launched it a couple of years ago?
Yeah, it's been really popular lately because it's just a really good solution to get both photo and video at the same time without turning your day into a bloody shit show TV show. I suppose that's what people sort of say. It's a bit stressful when you got so many cameras and big giant looking film rigs on the day, and it just makes you as a couple nervous, but also the people around you as well. They just feel like they're on the edge and they're constantly being filmed. But what I do is just makes it real simple. I just do it as just one person, and at the end of the day, they still get a nice video to look at, capturing all the important bits and just bringing the best of both worlds, photo and video at the same time.
So for those people who haven't listened to your previous episode, I think a very quick sort of recap on, like, I think the question people are going to be asking right now is like, hang on. Like, seriously, you can do both? Like, really walk us through, like, how you, I mean, obviously without giving any industry secrets, but, like, how do you do both on the day?
Yeah. So it's a bit of a juggling act, but with the cameras that we have these days, the technology that we have is so much better than it was, and we are able to record great quality video and switch between photo and video very quickly as well. So we're able to do that. But to train yourself to do that, it takes a long time, because when you're a photographer, all you're thinking about is taking photos, but you got to retrain your process to take video as well, but also direct and guide your couples to incorporate the video part of things without making it look like you're having to do separate takes all the time. Like I'm sure you've seen TV shows where they're taking a take 1, take 2, take 100.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Try to make it take 1, maybe 2 at most. So
No, we don't really get any takebacks on and extra takes in the wedding game, and so definitely, I totally appreciate it. Also, as a TV presenter myself, like I totally understand that you don't get another second go, particularly at a
no.
weddings compared to the TV world. So, and
Mm,
certainly, like you don't want. You're right. You don't want our couples to be feeling like they are, on display like that so much.
mm,
Where they're hiring us so that everything is seamless and that they can just be
mm.
themselves, be casual, be
Yeah.
be completely immersed in the experience, and I'm like, oh, hang on, let's do it again because I didn't quite get it. So then I really want to sort of like understand, like, is you doing both of them? Did you practice? You said you needed to do a lot of practice for many years. Were you practicing in your office or something, doing quick changes or something, like like military training, or like, okay, 1 2 holds to the camera, 1 2 holds to the camera? Like, was it like as regimented as practice as that, or like, you
Right.
sort of walk us through exactly how that came about?
Yeah. I actually I did a bit of sneaky, and I did the practice during weddings.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Uh,
So,
and
so then
I
how do you avoid missing out on moments if obviously, something's taking place and how does your brain go, that's a video moment versus a photo moment?
Yeah, I suppose you got to sort of train yourself to think about which is which. But sometimes I actually hold two cameras at once.
Well, see, now we're getting to the juicy stuff. Okay. Wow, so you've been
Yeah.
doing weight training alongside your military drills to sort of
Yeah, so I'm
carry
holding two
both
cameras at
cameras.
once, record photo in the other, and go, hold it there, hold it really steady, and then shoot, and you can get both at the same
That's
time.
cool, man. See, I've
But
not had the pleasure of doing a wedding with you yet, doing that service. So I'm looking forward to the day seeing you, cameras akimbo, both, carrying them at the same time. That's amazing.
yeah,
Look,
yeah. But
how
actually,
is
I did a couple of weddings where I gave
mm,
I gave it to my clients as a little bonus. It's like, what, I actually got some video for you guys too, and what do you think? And they loved it. And so as I did a few more of those and got better and better at them, I started to implement it into my packages and making it work for my clients.
Oh, I love it. And I'm going to ask the question, like, sort of, I mean, maybe it's intuitive, but I want to hear it from you, because some people do often just decide to get just photos. You don't often hear of just video, but it happens, I guess. But realistically, of course, you're promoting something that is the hybrid of the two, in both how it's actually captured, and also, of course, the final product that you're giving. So sort of walk us through, like, how do you personally believe that photo video complement each other in telling the complete wedding story?
Yeah, I guess before I took video, I thought photo was the be all end all, and you didn't need video. But when I started taking video, I realized how much of it, of how many things are missing out when you're just taking a photo. So obviously, you can't record a voice when using a photo.
Hmm.
And
True.
how
Yeah.
powerful is the voice, your partner's voice in the video? How powerful is that? That is so
No, of
incredible.
course.
So to have both of those things and the photos together at the same time, that's just, next, you just can't compete with that. So I think having both photo and video is the best combo. And if you can do it easily, without having to go through all that stress of having a full team and hiring a separate team as well, which I think at the end of the day, if you just hire one person, you save a lot of money too, because you're just hiring one team. So
Yeah, I was going to say, obviously, there's some element of that cost effectiveness to this. And so,
absolutely.
would you argue that, because you're not the only person I see offering this now, although I would argue you were one of the very first pioneers that I saw in this space.
Mm,
And so, as like a sort of a sub niche sort of service within a very robust and well established photography, videography world,
mm,
uh, is this something that you would be able to confidently say to couples that is a cost-effective measure, if perhaps that
mm,
they're like, as opposed to someone getting a content creator, because obviously that is now
mm.
becoming a trend in the sense of what people perceive a cheaper, quote unquote, option to videography, and potentially even photography, to be perfectly frank. But sort of, would you consider this to sort of be like the 0.5 between, say, content creation and full-blown services such
Yeah.
as a separate photo video team?
Absolutely, yeah. I would never say I'd compete with a full-blown video team, because they're obviously the best at what they do, and I am certainly not the best videographer by any means, but I do offer a in between. A sort of I would want video, but I don't really want to spend thousands of dollars, or that's not my priority. I
Mm,
guess at the end of the day, it comes to down comes down to what is your client's priority and what they value most. So if photo is obviously of highest priority, that's me of two. But if video is something they do want, but they don't want it to be fully produced Hollywood style cinematic, because I simply can't do that by myself. So that's why it's more attractive price point for me to offer it, but also a less stressful option with less equipment and people around. So I'm sort of in the middle of the two. But I guess if your clients really do want that sort of cinematic, beautiful video, then there's obviously amazing teams who do that and do it so well that makes my videos look kind of rookie. But
no. But I've got to ask the question. You've touched on something really important there. Is about the sort of production value that goes into the cinematic approach of most videography companies versus what you're providing, and even I would go as far to say what content creators are providing as well, because there's obviously a very specific format that comes from filming on a phone and so forth. So I would ask the question about sort of your process into, because I'm really curious about, obviously there's one thing which is your main line, which is to edit your photos in your style, and that's what you've been doing, that you've been your bread and butter for years, and obviously you're very well established at that. And now you're incorporating a video component, which obviously needs that editing process alongside as well. And you said, and quite rightfully so, understandably so, that's you don't have the time to devote entire Hollywood production style editing process. But tell us a bit more about sort of what couples can expect from these hybrid services in terms of the editing process for what you're providing versus what they can get from the other two sort of subcategories.
Yeah. So I still record all the audio from the day. So I'm still recording that. So you've got all the video and speeches and whatnot throughout the day. So I use that as the main basis for the story, because I'm all about telling the best story I can. So I'm listening to every single word that's being said on the day, even the ones that you don't want to hear that it's recorded. I won't let people hear that, but it's all the good bits are combined. I sit there and listen to the story, and I just think about how can I, what is the story of the day for my couple? What's the best way I can tell it? What's the best music that I can use? So obviously when you watch a good movie, the music soundtrack is amazing, right? But if you get a good movie but bad music, what does that mean? It's a really dodgy movie, right? Because the music.
Well, it definitely doesn't help if the other music choices are bad. Yes, 100%.
Exactly. So I make sure that I sit through hours watching, listening to music to ensure that it suits your vibe and you love the music, and it's something that you're drawn to. So the music's a very important part too.
I want to ask about the music actually, because often I see this still coming up, because the concept of, particularly with the rise of content creation and how prevalent it is in our society, the concept of music and copyright has definitely become a bit blurred for people's understanding, because it's become so wide and hard to keep up with. So there's some misconceptions out there that, even though, yes, there may be a particular pop music track that's your vibe and it's you and it's your song and that's our first dance, and so therefore we should have the right to better play that. I know that there's lots of discussion online and amongst other, from videographer experts that say, look, as much as we appreciate that that's the song you like, if I were to post this on YouTube or put this out anywhere, it's going to get flagged, and therefore I get a hit on that, and I'm at risk of risking my business. But also there's just that general copyright issue that you come about. So could you explain a little bit more to the audience about what the options are? You said, as you say, you're going through those music choices. What are the options for couples to feel as though that the music that accompanies their videos are not something completely devoid, or it's clearly from a stock sort of choice and doesn't have anything relating to them, but at the same time, does have that flavor that represents them without breaching any copyright?
Yeah, it's a good question, Nathan, and it's one that I get asked all the time. So with music, I always ask the question to my clients before with a questionnaire. What sort of music do you like? Give me a couple of tracks that you like, a couple of songs, and they would write down their track that they like. And what I do is I put that track, do a YouTube search on it, and then what I do is I take that URL from YouTube and put it into my music program, and that gives me a similar song. That is
one that's like that's copyright, like it's copyright free, like royalty free,
which I pay for, of course. So I pay for the program that they cost me a lot of money.
Yeah. But are these
Uh,
real songs? They're just
yeah.
as a database and it matches the
Yeah, so it's they're using AI as technology these days to beat match to look for the different rhythms, different
this
instruments
is
even.
cool. I like this. Could you for the benefit of those perhaps vendors that are listening as well and myself,
Mm,
like, I'm curious about this for my content. And I'm sure look, couples out there are gonna get a kick out of this. What is that service called?
yeah, so I use a couple of websites for music. One of them is Track Club. Another one that a
Okay.
lot of the videographers use these days is called MusicBed, and that's probably one of the leading websites for music, and that's all copyrighted.
Hmm.
We all have to pay a licensing fee to use that per year.
Hmm.
It's rather expensive, so not worth for a couple to go and buy that because there's no point.
Yep.
But we have to pay for it because we use the music. But we basically put our client's preference into that program, and it gives us a range of songs which we can use that sound similar,
It's
not the same of
fascinating.
course, which is very cool. So it just makes it
Yeah.
personalized.
No, I love that. And I think there's such an extra touch that I think, potentially it's a great, thing for any couple to really be having that conversation about, because I know that this, as I mentioned before, it becomes a bit of a hot button issue. And I think there's nothing worse in a couple feeling like their needs are being dismissed, but it's like, no, no,
Mm,
no, it's just, you know, massive international copyright laws dictate that
yeah,
I'm going to be in a lot of strife if I don't pick the right stuff. So it's a responsibility on your part to obviously
exactly.
uphold the law, but also to protect the final product, particularly if couples are interested in getting the supercuts or their version of the video placed onto YouTube, even as an
Mm,
unlisted page. It still needs to be on. If it's going to be hosted on these platforms, it needs to abide by the copyright laws. So
exactly right.
that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, it's our job to educate our clients on that, because if we didn't tell our clients and we use that music and we get done from copyright,
Mm.
especially apparently Ed Sheeran's team is pretty good on that. So just watch out.
Oh yes, amongst many others amongst these ilk,
Hmm.
yes, and
Yeah.
I get it, but yeah, it's definitely. I appreciate that you're part of those people who want to make that, like, rather than
Yeah.
just like, just use the song and it doesn't matter. It's like, yeah, but it does. And so
Mm,
but at the same time, as you said, there's options and there's ways of making it personalized still. I think that's the real important,
mm,
most important thing.
yeah.
Now when people come to you and they want to have a chat with you, they're interested in the hybrid thing, or perhaps they just really like your vibe in general. They like your hats because you've got a lot of cool hats, and like they just say, look, Kev, I want to talk about sort of like photography, videography, like
Mm,
what should people really be looking for? And I know this is a question I ask a lot on this show, but I think it's really, really critical to get this broad perspective for couples when sort of going about and finding, because it's one thing to say, oh, just look for the reviews, or it's one thing to say, oh, just look at the portfolio that you're putting out there. But
mm.
beyond all those things that could be researched on Google, or quite frankly, compiled on ChatGPT these days, what should couples really be looking for when they're talking to people like yourself?
Hmm. Yeah, I would say the most important thing is to have a proper chat with the person, either in person. I think in person is still the best way to judge a person's character.
Mm,
Absolutely, because you can see their mannerisms, how they are, how they talk to you, how they are as a person, better than what you could on Zoom. But Zoom is the next best thing, of course, if you can't meet them. Yeah,
mm.
definitely meet with all your clients and just have a chat to them and ask them. I guess ask them the question. What makes you different? Well, why should I hire you?
Yeah, just put it straight to them. I love that.
Mm,
I think it's as
that's-
blunt as that, right?
Yeah, I think if somebody was asking that question, I'd say, yeah, they know what they're sort of looking for. And if the person that you're thinking of hiring can give you a really good answer with confidence and just full trust that you know that they're going to deliver the best service possible to you, then all for it, I'd say.
Mm.
But if they're a bit sort of unsure about themselves, or they're just not confident with their own services, like they just cannot, like they don't believe in their own services, and that they're the best fit for you, then maybe you could try to find someone else if you can. So
Yeah,
that's
no, I think
that's
it's
my
as
top.
no, you're 100% correct. It's as easy as that. I think it really just boils down to it. I mean, as much as there's so many different choices and there's expos and
Mm. Yeah,
there's so many different things, but yet just just establish the trust. at the beginning, and that trust and that confidence in the vibe will then carry on through the whole process. And I want to ask you about the trust thing too, because realistically, once, look, let's imagine they love you, they're happy with you, they book you, they're paid, the service agreement's done, the party's on. But then how do you and people amongst, other photographers and videographers, what is the most ideal process in continuing to build that trust and rapport all the way from booking to all the way
Mhm.
through to like after the day itself? Because there's obviously, they are hoping to get the content from you as well. So how do you build that trust and rapport to allow for them to feel comfortable, relaxed, and just throughout the whole process feel like you're the right choice?
Yeah, so I guess I don't. As soon as someone books me, I don't leave them in the dark and don't communicate for the next year and a half. That's the point thing, because I guess you might sort of book them a while ago, but then you might not hear from them until the week of wedding day, which is a shame because you've got so much time to develop a level of trust with clients. And the way I do that is
Mm.
I schedule emails with my blog posts that I've written throughout the years, and just give my clients hints and tips throughout the time. Every couple of weeks, I might just drop on the 7 tips on how to best look in photos, for example, blog post which I wrote,
Mm.
and that just helps them to read a bit more about what they could do on the day and how they feel more comfortable. But I also drop a lot more of those throughout the way. I also schedule a time to meet with all my clients before the day. So I say about 3 months before, just let's have a catch up of coffee and somewhere and go for dessert, whatever. Bingsu is
Mm.
pretty popular. That's what people do. Yeah, I just go somewhere, have a proper face-to-face chat before the day, and then we can physically meet in person before the day. Some clients prefer to do a engagement shoot, which is another service that I do too, which helps to build the just practice before the big day, right? So we
Mm.
just go
Mm.
somewhere nice, put up some good clothes, good time to get a makeup trial done if you're planning to do that as well,
Mhm.
and just have some fun for an hour or
Yeah,
so. Nice
I
photos.
love it. I think you've really hit on all the best points, and I think, like you said, it's just about doing those little things along the way. And I quite like the blog posts, and then trickling that out to your couples as well. I think that's, you're giving me an idea about to do that too. So that's definitely, I like that. That is
Yeah.
particularly, I mean, all those other things I think have become sort of not so much expected, but certainly amongst people like yourself who are very well regarded, it's kind of become commonplace. Whereas I think those other little communication touches are definitely unique, and I haven't heard that before, or at least not very often. Kevin, look, I think it's the last piece of the puzzle is that they trust you, they trust your portfolio, they like what they see, they're happy with the process. You're sending all these emails and everything else like that. The day comes, how should couples sort of anticipate where you sit in the picture in terms of the team that they're building, and then how do you, alongside all the other vendors, work together on the day, and what should couples expect about how you work together with other vendors in order to make sure everything flows and it's exactly the vision that they desired?
Yeah, good question. Good question. So, I guess when I get to a wedding, hopefully I see some people I know, because if I do see people I know, that I know they're going to be looked after by them as well. So that's always nice. But I always try to make contact to each vendor before the wedding day happens. I might just quickly follow them on Instagram and say hello, say hey,
Mm.
I'm going to be working with you next week. Can't wait, and sort of build a relationship from there. So as soon as we get to the wedding day, we are not strangers anymore. We are Instagram friends, which is good. Which is pretty much a handshake these days, anyway.
Yeah.
But on the day, I just talk to the so depending on who I'm working with, I suppose. So let's say it's a DJ, right,
Mhm.
or MC like Nathan. There you go.
Sure.
So I always make sure that we are fully aware of what's happening on the evening, for example. As I might say, Nathan, just let you know that speeches are coming up in 10 minutes. Can you just give me a heads up on when that's happening so I'm ready to go with my cameras and videos? So it's not,
Yeah.
I'm not running
Hopefully
around.
I'm telling you proactively rather than the other way around, but sure, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so communicating with, various vendors, say for the, let's say the stylist, for example, who's doing all the florals and detailing. I just
Mm.
want to
Mm.
say that, hey, I'm going to be, the clients are coming in soon. I just want to get a room shot that's empty, so my clients, they really want that photo. So knowing what
No,
my
it's
clients want,
perfect.
and then saying, okay, this is what my clients want. This is how I'm going to deliver it for them, and just want to make sure it happens. So I just
No, it's perfect. I love
communicate.
it because
Yeah.
you are setting expectations. And I can say personally,
Mm,
I've worked with you before. I know that these are the kind of things that you do, and this is a standard that you
mm,
rinse and repeat, but in good fashion, constantly, in order to make sure that your couples are taken care of. And I think it's a beautiful piece of teamwork, right?
yeah.
As an MC, I want you to get everything that you desire. I'm not there to, I mean, I should be doing my job best, is not placing any boundaries in place. Obviously, if there's something that you're not aware of, or I need to have happen or something, we'll communicate about it. But certainly the overall goal is for us all to be working together for the greatest level of harmony possible for
Mm,
their benefit. So no, it's great. And I think it definitely gives that level of reassurance that, we are, if you pick a very experienced vendor like yourself, that they can also expect that a lot of those things that they're never even going to know is happening is going to
mm.
take place, and it's going to be extraordinarily seamless. Kevin, we are running out of time, and I hate that, and I hate the fact, because you and I, we could talk forever, and I mean that sincerely. We just caught up recently, so, and we had, it was a social wedding event, so we had to like tear ourselves away and talk to other people too. It was like, oh, but here's the thing: we've got a couple extra minutes, and I don't think last time you had you on the show, we did this rapid fire thing. So this time I have a couple. So first, whatever answers come to mind, how many hats do you have?
I have two. I don't have too many
Just
hats.
two. Wow,
This is
you
my
do a
favorite
great
one.
job of making it
I'm
seem
sure
like you have more.
people have seen me in this hat a lot these days. So I like to wear it all the time, but I think it's something that people can remember me with. I know you've got your fancy shirts, fancy suits and stuff. That's your thing.
Yeah, I do. I do. I got
Really
about
got lots of those.
8 suits and counting now.
Yes.
So a couple more once I lose a bit more weight and get back into some old ones. But anyway, that's another story. Maybe next season I'll be a lot skinnier. The picture behind you, describe the couple and what took place there. Why that's so
Oh, yeah,
special.
yeah, yeah. So that I didn't have to Photoshop anything out. So that's a wedding that I did during COVID that was postponed and repostponed a number of times. It was just a couple. They just eloped in the city with their dog, Cooper.
Oh,
It was a nice Labrador. It was pissing down rain that day. So thank goodness, because the opera house was empty after we got there, and we had the whole
yeah,
opera
it's a
house.
very lucky shot. It's enviable,
Mm,
because I know that a lot of couples would love to have a photo like that on the stairs of the forecourt of the Sydney Opera House, but yet at the same
yeah.
time, it's you have to Photoshop it mostly in order to be able to engineer that. So
Mm,
I just think it's so profound. If any of you are only listening, I highly encourage you to pull up YouTube and see the photo that I'm talking about behind Kev's head there. Final
mm.
thing, Kevin, what is your why? Why do you do this?
Love the question, because it's. I wish people asked me this question more often as well. But why do I do what I do? Because it allows me to create memories for people that last for a lifetime. Because think about your wedding day; it's only going to come around once, and
Hmm.
for me to be able to do a job where that is so enjoyable, because you're hanging around with the people who are having the best time of their life, but also document their day as faithfully as possible. But to allow them to have the memories that they could be proud of for life is quite profound, and
Hmm.
something that I never take for granted. And that's why trust is so important to me, because I want that for you, and I want that. The same feeling that when you're looking at your photos 10 years time, that you're going to be amazed at how good you looked, how it felt, how it sounded like.
Hmm.
And I just want to keep the memories timeless for you, because I don't want to be doing things because I want to do. I want to do things because you want it, because my
Oh,
clients.
that's a better reason. There's not a better single better reason I could possibly imagine. I love
Yeah,
that.
so,
And I know
so
that how passionate you are.
yeah, it provides me a lifestyle that allows me to be with my family, and give them their best opportunities, but also spend more time with them, but also spend my weekends with incredible people.
Well, Kevin, I'd like you to tell the audience exactly where they can find you so that you can continue to do exactly as you love to do.
Yeah, cool. So you can find me on my website, www.imagesbykevin.com.au. I'm also all over Instagram, Images by Kevin Weddings, and also Facebook. But yeah, you can hit me up anytime.
Fantastic. Well, so they should. And you would definitely not be disappointed. I've had the sincere pleasure working at Kevin before, a number of years ago, and I can personally attest to your skill and your dedication. And it's only got better ever since the last episode that we
Yeah,
recorded as well. So,
thank you.
Kevin, I wish you all the very best. And thank you so much for sharing your passion today. And yeah, just keep on keeping on when it comes to this hybrid thing. I'm really enjoying this sort of pioneering aspect that you've taken on. And so good luck as the product and continues to expand. And I look forward to next time we get to work together.
Yeah, no, looking forward to seeing you again, Nathan. It's always fun when you're around on the day, and I know that my clients will be well looked after.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Just As Planned Wedding Podcast. Please like and subscribe to let me know that you want more videos just like this one. And of course, please follow us on our socials at Just As Planned Wedding on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for more expert insights to help your wedding go just as planned.